What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Coffee and talking about guitar stuff. I like doing these every morning. A couple things to keep up on. One is the live stream on the big channel at DylanTalksTone, youtube.com/DylanTalksTone. On Thursday night, we're going to do that at 8 p.m., which is what we always do. And then the other thing is right after that, we are going to do a Whatnot auction on whatnot.com. And that we're going to have a bunch of really cool stuff. We've got a bunch of new materials, a bunch of new pickup designs that you've never seen before. So if you want something a little different, if you want a different color, we got some really, really neat stuff coming. So I want to share that with you. And the other thing is, last night we did our Patreon hangout. So patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. I think there's a link to it in the description. I uploaded the video recording of it, and it's really interesting because we hung out with a lawyer. He's actually in Japan, and so he deals with all of this IP stuff, but internationally. And so it was key. The key word is internationally because many of us are so concerned about what's going on in the United States with like this whole Fender thing, and it actually has nothing to do with the United States. The United States isn't changing. There's nothing changing in the United States. Everything's going to be fine. But what he did is he explained what's going on in Europe and the fact that there's more going on than just the guitar thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things that happens in these conversations often is people just get so worked up that they don't understand the finer details. And law is all about the finer details, right? And so, for example, with copyright law in Europe versus in the United States, they handle them differently. And it comes down to like the definitions of a couple of words legally, how they handle various things. And so it makes a big difference when you look at that. You go, oh my goodness, it totally makes sense why it's happening. It's not cool. We still don't want it. But it definitely makes sense why it's happening. And I don't know, it made me like give the folks at Fender a little more grace. I don't mean like the people that are making the decisions to do this, but I also think that lawyers did lawyer things, not understanding the implications that it was going to have socially. So there's a little nuance there. And I know you guys hate that. I know you just want to be angry about stuff, but it's important to actually get a good understanding of it. I uploaded it to our Patreon. So patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. You can watch it over there. It's very in depth. It's an hour long. He wrote a whole PowerPoint for it. He went through it. He went a whole bunch of work to do this. So we appreciate him doing that. And man, holy smokes, super cool. Which leads me to another thing that I was thinking about yesterday, and then we talked about this last night a little bit, and we'll talk about it now, is when we as guitar players have a tendency to get upset about a couple of things. One is, as a result of this conversation, we want everybody, like, why don't you just make your own design of guitar? Like, why is everybody making copies, right? That's one reasoning. That's one line of thought, right? And then the other line of thought is nobody should own the shape. It's just common, it's we all own it, right? It's all of ours now. And we should be able to do whatever we want. And it's okay that they're all the same because I just want a Strat anyways. There's a couple of different lines of reasoning there. The weird thing is this seems to we only seem to see outrage about this, about guitars. My guess is that many of you, I know I do, have products that fall under these categories all the time. Companies are constantly. That's why my friend... Hey guys. Get him. Morning zoomies. That's why my friend has a job, because, and he was explaining that he doesn't go out, lawyers don't just go out looking for people to sue. Someone has to come to them and say, hey, I need to protect this, um, for them to do it. So it's not like they're, that type of lawyer is not just like ambulance chasing. They have to have a case come to them, and they have to say, yes, this case is worth, this thing that you're trying to protect. There is a legal way to do it. And okay, yes, that's happening constantly. So, whatever car you drive, whatever tennis shoes you wear, whatever pen you're using, whatever hat you have on your head, whatever logo you have on your shirt, there's constantly people suing each other uh, over trademarks. That's what this is. Um, Almost everything borrows a principal design from something else that is not protected IP. So if you think of a Jeep, a Toyota Land Cruiser, in the 60s and 70s, those were, obviously we know the difference if we're Jeep and Toyota Land Cruiser people, but people called my buddy had FJ40s for years, and he hated it because people called it a Jeep all the time. It just happened, right? The Ford Bronco is an excellent example. For those of you that in the world markets outside of the United States, the Suzuki Jimny, we call that the Samurai here. Smartphones, right? I don't know the difference. I know what an iPhone looks like, but if you put a Google Pixel and a Samsung in front of me, with them not lit up, I have no idea. I don't know what the differences are because I don't keep up on it. I have no idea. They are a touchscreen phone. They have apps. They all have Android. All those have Android, so I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Your tennis shoes. For those of you, a lot of you are of the age that are complaining about this. You're probably wearing some white New Balances, or are you wearing Sauconys, or are you wearing, some other maybe knockoff thing that looks like a New Balance because you don't care about it. It's a tennis shoe. They all have the same profile. A lot of them have the same squishy white bottom now. Like, we see the trends in various technologies like that. Like, when I was a kid, like, they all had the hard foam with the rubber bottom of a different color, right? So it'd be like a white hard foam that's about a half-inch thick with like a red sole on it, and everybody copied that, right? And then for a while there was like the Puma style shoe, and everybody copied that. And then there's the Van style shoe, and everybody copied that. Like, that's the thing. Like, unless you were familiar, you didn't know the difference. And so there's all kinds of products. Pocket knives are another one. The Buck 110 is like the pocket knife, the Buck 110 Hunter. When you think of a lockback pocket knife with brass bolsters, that's it. Well, everybody makes that design. The Benchmade Bug Out is like this little lightweight pocket knife that you can open with one hand. And now there are tons of companies that make a knife that's like that. Nobody seems to care. There have been years, and when this first happened, the F-150 was excellent. And there have been years where if you put the silhouette of an F-150 over a Silverado, over a Ram 1500, and then like turned out the lights and turned them on, if you were uninformed, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's the thing. I mean, it's like, this is constantly, I could tell the difference between a Ford and a Chevy. Well, that's because you know what a Ford and a Chevy is. You can also tell the difference between a Schecter and a Fender Strat, because you know what a Schecter and a Fender Strat are. So every industry has a breakthrough design that then gets refined by other brands, right? Like, so one brand will come up with a staple of a thing, and then other brands will, and like, for example, Spyderco, the reason they have that hole is trademarked so that you can immediately tell that it's a Spyderco. But there are other brands who have different shaped holes, right? So it's very easy to just kind of pile all these things on top of each other. Nobody gets mad that every smartphone works like an iPhone, except it doesn't. Every truck looks like a truck. Every running shoe looks like a running shoe. Every pocket knife looks like a pocket knife. Every insulated tumbler looks like a Yeti. So you got the Yeti, you got the Arctic, you got the Ozark Trail. Those. I can't. My daughter collects the Stanley ones, I think, and like I've seen them side by side, and I'm like, I don't know why people pay $40 for this one and $15 for this Arctic one. I don't understand the difference, right? Like I can't tell, and I'm pretty smart about this stuff. Um, so that's the thing, right? Like I don't understand why people get worked up so much um, about the guitar thing. The only thing I can figure is it is the emotional connection to the instrument, which is good. I'm glad you have an emotional connection to your instrument. That's the important point of all of this. Don't lose that just because somebody's arguing about it. But why is it okay to be angry about it when why is it okay to be angry about this and then let what brand your coffee cup or your shoes or your truck or your whatever just go? And Chevy's suing Ford, Ford's suing Chevy. I'm sure Stanley has sued over, and Yeti have sued each other over Stanley / Yeti stuff. And you never hear about it, so you don't know about it. Why? Is it because you're not emotionally connected to your coffee cup? You're probably more emotionally connected to your truck than your coffee cup, but those kind of lawsuits are happening all the time. So why are you angry about your guitar? It's a great question. And the reason I bring it up is because you should have passion about your instrument, but anger doesn't do anything and frustration doesn't do anything. So I don't understand it. It's a genuine question. Like I don't get it. I'm not that kind of person. I don't get mad about football teams. I don't get mad about, I just don't, I'm not like that. I don't get mad about that stuff. I don't get upset, when my football team loses or when my brand of motorcycle doesn't win the MotoGP, or, I don't, it's just not kind of my vibe. I don't do that. So I don't understand it when people do it. I'm literally saying I just don't understand it. So that's it. It's some thoughts I had. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow.